There's nothing quite like dealing with a woman who not only values who you are, but she derives pleasure from supporting you in your mission and making you happy and satisfied. There is a night and day difference. And in fact, I didn't even know that this was even a possibility in dealing with women until probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And I had the first experience that I ever had with a woman who genuinely wanted the best for me. And I've had women, like this in the past with high school and such, but I didn't see it when it was happening because I was just not ready to receive that kind of a thing just yet. I was just not ready to receive it. And I think that's one thing that a lot of men don't want to admit about themselves, is that one of the reasons that they cannot create a positive relationship with women is because, especially nowadays, like, yes, the entitlement with women is real. Yes, they lack accountability. Yes, they dodge accountability. It's their kryptonite. But there are plenty of good women out there that are single, that have actually built themselves up, that have actually grown. And when they grow, this is not just, hiding behind green flags, like false green flags. Like that. A lot of women's idea of growth is something like that. But that's not exactly the way that a good woman operates. A good woman is going to be supportive of your mission, and she's going to absolutely give her all to multiply everything that you bring to the table as a man. Even if you think about this biologically, the man is the one who creates life. He is the one that has his seed into the woman. The woman just multiplies it. And I'm not saying she just does it. Like, that's actually a beautiful thing. But the woman simply multiplies, and she's going to be happier and at her happiest when she's doing things like that. So if you look at the Proverbs, for example, the Lord has really placed this topic on my heart because I'm not trying to give like false hope, because a lot of men will think that these positive videos about women are like false hope. And it's like, man, you are so black-pilled that I just can't even relate to you anymore, man. Like, I used to have a lot of compassion and sympathy for these kinds of people, but it's like you're almost so entrenched in the idea of hating women that you've become blind to your own hate, and you've become blinded by your own hate. And I don't think that's a good way to live, because there are absolutely good women out there, and I've met them, and I'm connecting with them more and more all the time. In fact, the more masculine that I become as a man, the more feminine kinds of women that I attract, and the higher quality of women. And what's interesting is that the more attractive women are treating me better than ever nowadays. Like, they are treating me so much more better over the past few years. And obviously it's because I've gotten myself more together. I've put myself more together. I've worked on my body. I've worked on my image, my reputation. I'm creating something for myself. And a lot of men don't want to admit that that's what it takes. That's what it takes. You have to build something for yourself. You have to, it's so funny because when you first start, a lot of people anyway, not everybody, but a lot of men start self-development so that they can get money and they can get women. And then after a while, they start to realize, and I knew this beforehand, but I knew I wanted better women. But I also knew that money and status and power wasn't really the answer. I knew I did want those things, but I knew that it wasn't the answer. I knew that I was trying to seek truth ultimately over everything else. And a lot of men don't want to admit that part of seeking truth is to let go of these attachments. I'm not saying that you need to be detached necessarily, but non-attached. And to me, there's a semantic difference. But a good woman is a Proverbs 31 woman, okay? And just for example, who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies? Okay, there's a reason for that. Because the rubies aren't going to mean anything in the long run when a woman can multiply what you have. When a woman can multiply what you have, she's like the ultimate multiplier. That woman is going to be a constant ROI. This is something that a lot of men are just done dating for, is they're not getting an ROI on their investments. I've heard of stories, crazy stories about women just wasting men's time, and I've had that happen myself in the long distance past, but more so today I can vet pretty quickly by asking a certain few questions on how a woman's responding to me as well. Like if she giddy around me and if she's feeling like I can literally feel the warmth in between her legs if she's standing next to me. And I can feel these kinds of things in the moment. I don't have to like, ooh, she said this. Does she like me? Like when you're becoming a mature man, you start to realize that the words of what women are saying are just, you don't need to pay attention to the words sometimes. You need to be paying attention to how you feel around her and how she's feeling around you. Because ultimately women are going to respond to their emotions, and you need to be the cause of her emotions in that. Okay? She will do good for him and not evil all the days of her life. This is a woman who actually has a sense of standard and understanding about virtue and principles. Women are always going to, like, look, I get it. Like, I'm not saying that I'm going to get married legally someday. I'd like to have a family, but I'm not going to get the state involved in my romantic interests and affairs. They've already got their hands in enough stuff, right? But a woman who's going to do good and not evil all the days of her life, a woman is either going to be building you up and multiplying what you have, supporting you and nurturing you, or she's going to, well, maybe three things. Or she's going to leave you, or she's going to try to destroy you. And really, I guess in all, it's really one or the other. She's going to be building you up, or she's going to be destroying you. But sometimes a woman destroys you and you become heartbroken so that you can be healed. A lot of people hear the saying like, hurt people, right? We've actually had people talk about this in the Regal Change Academy group that we have. And this is something that's absolutely been talked about. But hurt people can also give people that are looking for healing the opportunity to heal. They can give people the opportunity to heal for those who are looking for healing. This is one of the reasons why I genuinely think that God put me in the position that I grew up in, so that I knew what it would be like to go through the pain and the struggle so that I can find meaning in it. And also coming out on the other side, realizing that life doesn't need to be all about struggle all the time. Like, it doesn't. I use the example of why carry a cross if you can carry a guitar? And I really mean that question. I really mean, like, because Jesus says that we need to pick up our cross each day. Well, why should I, why, Jesus? Why should I pick up my cross and not my guitar over there? Why should I participate in the suffering if I can just pick up a guitar? What's the difference? Well, the Bible also talks about how sorrow is more useful and more valuable than laughter. Okay? Well, that means that even though joy is a fruit of the Holy Spirit, sorrow is going to be more valuable because it teaches you more about yourself and other people. Joy is great, and it's fantastic to be in the state of joy, but it's not the end all be all. Okay? It's not the end goal here. It's not the end, it's just going to be a byproduct of you going on the path. And something that we talked about a little bit in the Bible study that we had for the Regal Change group this evening, the Regal Change Academy group this evening, was how I used to be very nihilistic, right? I used to be very nihilistic. However, I also, before following Christ, I was very nihilistic and I was just very living this meaningless life. But now life has become a lot more difficult, but it's saturated with meaning. Like every single second is saturated with meaning. I see God's hand moving in my relationships all the time. Like the synchronicities that I'm going through right now are insane. But this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this topic, is because I think that I understand men's perspective on women nowadays, but we have to change ourselves, men. We have to do that. Women are not going to change until we are. It's just, we don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. I don't like it. I don't like that we're going to have to change so much more for them to like start to realize like, oh yeah, maybe this is the wrong kind of way to do. Like, it's going to take generations. Okay, just it is what it is. All right. And when you come to accept this, there's this liberating feeling that comes with it. It's like, oh, okay. Like, okay, I'm looking for a unicorn, basically. Like, that's like you just accept that you're looking for a unicorn. But it's not actually a unicorn, okay? It may seem like that because you're just not used to it. But there are beautiful, kind, empathetic women who are actually aligned with your values and principles out there. You have to believe this, though, and you have to act as if it's true. Okay, you have to act as if this is true. And I'm not saying that, because I've seen men in my one-on-ones that I do, I've seen men have relationships with great women, okay? And some of them are still, I'm thinking they're going to get married someday. I know they've already talked to each other about this, one of the couples that I'm thinking about specifically, but like, that's what we want to see more of. We want to see more of these biblical relationships where the woman, she stretches out her hand to the poor and she reaches forth her hands to the needy. Okay, this is a woman who understands the value of charity without being suicidal in her empathy. Okay? Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. Strength and honor. So this is a woman she's been through hardships, but not enough to destroy her innocence and purity. Okay, she knows what it's like to work hard in the world, but she hasn't completely destroyed her livelihood because of her trauma. Because women do not handle trauma well, and that's just a fact. They really don't. And I've seen a lot of women go through a lot of different things, but a woman that can still support her man or the men in her life, specifically like if it's family or if it's, her romantic significant other, if she can still support his mission or their missions and multiply what they have, she's not in the streets, right? Because a woman here's something I thought about recently. A lot of women have a pride issue, which is pretty obvious, right? But especially with the women nowadays. But one thing in particular that I'm thinking of is that when women show too much skin, when they are exposing themselves constantly with this desire to be seen, it's like they can't go a day without needing to be wanted by a different man. That's a form of pride and vanity that the devil has completely captured their souls. And you can't do much. And some of these women are going to be attracted to you as a godly man. If you're a godly man watching this, some of these women are going to be attracted to you because they feel like they need to be healed by you. They don't know this, though. Okay, this is something that I've noticed that is there. It's happening for them subconsciously. Like, I've had Jezebel-like women in the past where they're like obsessed with me and they hate that they're obsessed with me. And I know that they're a Jezebel too, but keep this in mind, is that the women that hate you the most often have the most like romantic feelings for you because their emotions are just so strong. You just make them feel something that other men don't. And they think to themselves, like, they trick themselves into believing that they like you because of their imagination. Like, imagination is your best friend when it comes to understanding women their imagination is your best friend. That is, when it comes to understanding women and when it comes to leaving women. Because sometimes you just need to leave that woman. But a woman who opens her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Okay, there's not a lot of women out there like this nowadays, but the women that like you'll see this from, this is very, very true. Okay, they have this quaint pleasantness about them that you just feel at ease around them. If you feel like super high around them, like you just feel like this immense lustful desire and it's like, ooh, life is so exciting. If you feel that around them, it's likely the case that you have completely stumbled into a toxic woman's trap. But if you feel at ease around this woman, like it's not too high, it's not too low, you're just fairly neutral, you can breathe around this woman. There's not like a rush of oxytocin, but there's not a rush of oxytocin. Like there's something in between. You're just feeling comfortable, but not too comfortable around these kinds of people, specifically like in relationships with the women or the women with you. That's probably a sign that you're more compatible than you think, but it's not going to be as exciting. Okay, it might not be as exciting, but relationships aren't meant to be like that. Relationships are meant to be more supportive and nurturing. Like a woman that she just can be free. She can be girly. She can just be somewhere else in the, she can just be herself somewhere in the room, maybe somewhere else, but she can just float around and be like that little butterfly without having the butterfly tattoos. Because I've seen women with butterfly tattoos in the past who I gave the benefit of the doubt for. I gave the benefit of the doubt to this woman with a butterfly tattoo, and it was just like, man, what a waste. Like that was a rough go, and I learned from that. But yeah, those kinds of women, you got to be careful, man. You got to be very careful with. I just stay away from women with tattoos. I stay away from women with excessive piercings. If she has one or two piercings on her ear, that's fine. But body piercings, or the septum piercing is an obvious one. But even any kind of tattoos, I'm very hesitant of. If it's like one tattoo, like maybe, like, I don't know, something that you can barely see on the wrist or something, or that you can barely see like on her torso, like right there, I don't think that's too big of a deal. I still don't think that it's right though, because our body's a temple and God made us to be perfect as we are. And that's I'm so glad I haven't gotten a tattoo, guys. Oh, I'm so glad I haven't gotten a tattoo. But anyway, that's a story for another time. But I think you guys get the point in this video. What I'm trying to say is, don't take these women too seriously, but don't be so black-pilled that you like hate women, man. Like, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be bitter toward women, but that was because I didn't even believe that healthy women existed for most of my life, up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, I didn't really believe that healthy women existed because I'd never really seen any healthy women, and I'd only seen like a few healthy men. I didn't really have a lot of great male role models, but the ones that I did have were pretty solid, and that was only through God's grace that I had that. And we need more male role models, I think. I don't want people to be idolizing anybody, but we need people that can be respected. And hating women, it's just not the answer, guys. It's just not the answer. A supportive woman, like, really, this takes immense self-awareness. A lot of people are just lacking self-awareness nowadays. I think it's always been like this, but more so than ever, it's like, I think it's that people who are stupid, and I mean that technically, I'm not trying to be degrading, people that are stupid are given voices more than ever before to voice their opinions and such. And it has it gotten like society any better? I don't think so. But that's why there's videos like this out there that are hopefully, setting the record straight and giving you a new perspective of, it's okay to be, it's okay to like just be chill around women. You don't have to hate them, but I'm not saying you should trust them, because I don't trust women. I don't trust anybody. Okay, I don't trust men. I don't trust anybody. But what I do trust are people's actions. And a supportive woman that is supporting your mission as a man, she's going to be supporting your mission through her actions. Okay, and you might be surprised. Like, I know in the past when women have actually been supportive of me, like when I first was realizing this a few years back, that women were actually supportive, like 4 or 5 years ago, and I had that happen to me, I was shocked. I was legitimately like shocked, because I thought, what is she up to? What is she do? What is she doing? What is she trying to get from me now? Like, because that was all of my experience. That was the totality of my experience with feminine women. It's not even feminine. Like, it's just femininity, the spirit of femininity. That was all of my experience. It was like, she only does things to get stuff from you. And most women will only come back to you to heal their ego. It's not because they want you. It's that they realize they can't get better than you. So now they want to come back to satisfy their egos so that they don't feel like a loser anymore. I know it's screwed up, but that's just the way they think, man. That's just the way they think. And it's a survival mechanism. That's the way God made them. But not all women are going to be like that. Not all of them. Okay, there are good women. So don't try to like think too much about this. Don't try to overthink. Women are not complicated. Okay, this is a psyop. I think. I think the mystique of women is a psyop. They're really not complex. Men are way more challenging to understand, because we look calm, cool, and collected and simple on the outside, but on the inside, there's like hundreds of thousands of things going on in our mind that we're trying to figure out in our lives to make things happen and to be a person in the world that people can respect. Like, that's not an easy task. Women will never understand that, and that's okay. They don't need to. But yeah, men are way more challenging to understand, but I could make that as another topic some other time. I think I hit all the points that I needed to in this video. I hope this video was useful and insightful for you, and informative or edifying in some way, shape, or form. Keep your head held high, bro. And to all the women that may be watching this, if you're a supportive woman in support of the man's mission in your life, like you support your man's mission, I salute you. I encourage you to continue to do that, because we need more women like that too. But it's going to take us men to hold the line and to set an example and to not tolerate people that are not bringing that kind of energy and not reciprocating your energy. Okay? I only deal with women that are reciprocating my interests. That's it. I don't do anything else. And I'm not going to be one of those people like he'll see, you know what, we're not going to get into that. But because it's getting late. I don't think I've ever made a video this late for probably a while. I don't know the last time I made a video this late. I've made videos this late here and there, but not very often. But anyways, guys, I hope this video was useful and insightful. Peace be with you all. Until next time.